So what we discussed yesterday, just a brief revision. So yesterday we discussed about what is a what is business analysis BA, okay, and who are business analysts, okay. So what we saw yesterday was that business analyst analysis is about analyzing the requirements for the business. Okay, so the step number one is to find the problem associated with a business. So what could be, what is the business need? Okay, why would the company go for any project? Okay, so that's about business analysis. Okay, once you do that, then the next step is to get more details. Okay, get more details about the business need. Okay, so that's where you go and you speak to your customers. Okay, try to understand more details about the need. So we do two step here, what we call as describe and define. So you describe the current situation. So you hear them, you listen to them. Okay, you listen to them and to understand the current situation, the problem that they are facing. Okay, then the next step is that you define the solution. You propose a solution. Okay, and while you propose, your customer should be with you, in the sense you together, customer and you together, come up with the future state or the to be state or the solution state. Okay, and once you have done that, the next step is to document it. Okay, of course, for every step you document it, and the third step is to translate that into technological requirements. We call them software requirement specification. So the business problem that you heard, the business solution that you're proposing, the third step is to translate that business solution into technical solution. Okay, which you hand it over to your project team. Okay, so project team are responsible for delivering the solution, technical solution. Right? So once the technical solution is delivered, then again you come into picture. So while the solution is being developed, you act as a you are there, so that if there is a question, if they need any help, they'll come to you. Okay, so once that is there, then you take the final solution. When solution is there, you take the final solution and you go, and again you bring in the implementation team. Okay, so you're not implementing, but you bring in the implementation team who will go and implement it. Once the implementation is there done, again you come into picture. Step number four is to measure that the problem or which was there earlier, and why okay, that problem is no longer there after implementation of the solution, right? So how do you know that problem is no longer there? So you identify few metric while you are doing the problem analysis, the describe state. Okay, you identify few metric. Okay, so if the problem is related to customer service, so you identify metric related to customer service, like what's your customer score, things like that. And once you have that, the last step, again you measure, and then you see the difference. Right? So while it was, let's say, 5%, 50%, and now after implementation it should be 70%, 25%. That means you have improved the score by 20-25%, right? So that's how you as a BA work. So you work right from identifying the problem need to measurement of the value that is derived from the solution. So basically, this is the role. Okay, this is what you'll be doing as a BA. So what we're going to study is the different tools, techniques, how it is done in detail. Okay, so before we do that, here on the screen are some of the roles as a business analyst. Okay, so I mean, business analyst is a very generic word, which means you are being you act as a liaison between business and the technology team, business teams and the technology team, right? Because business team step 1 and 2, where you understand the business need and you define the solution, and third and fourth is where you can translate that business into technical needs, and then you measure the value derived from the project. Okay, so you act as a liaison between them. You are the only single point of contact if they were to contact the customer, they have to go through you. Okay, so there are many roles which can be played, and you can be hired because these are some of the roles. And of course, our focus is IT perspective, right? So all these are related to IT role. So the first we talked about was business case development. In business case development, we look at the need. Okay, so the business case development is done before you actually start the project. Okay, so you identified the need. Now the next question is, should you work for that need or not, right? Okay, so the step number one in business case is to find the benefit. Okay, so this is the business problem, and I need to find the solution for it. Now, what is the financial benefit that I'll get from the solution? Okay, so when you say so I'll just give an example. So when you talk about bank, okay, now the bank's problem is that they are not able to cater to growing demand of the customer. Okay, so there's a loan department within the bank, and they are getting no they, earlier they were getting 5 to 6 applications per day. Now they're getting 15 to 20 applications per day because of some reason. Okay, now our idea is to double the number of employees, but that's only going to create chaos. So what they identified is that they need a software which will automate the process of loan application, loan a lot of things. They are looking to automate lot of the loan processing tasks. Okay, now if that for that software, okay, they need to uh, that's the business need. Okay, so need a software for that. So step number one is to find the benefit. Okay, so you're saying that, okay, if I give you that software, or if we have that software before we develop, okay, so you are analyzing it. Now if I get that software, what is the benefit? Okay, or what are the benefits that I'm going to get? So you have to list down. In business case, first step is to list down the business the benefits. Okay, so benefit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now these benefit, what how much they are going to give me, or what benefit do I get from financial perspective. Okay, so all the 10 benefits that you have listed, you have to convert that into financial value, dollar value. Okay, so step number one will give me 1,000 per month benefit. Step number two will give me 10,000 one-time benefit. Step number three will give me 500K benefit over the next 5 years, right? So you're trying to convert your benefit into dollar benefit, because end of the day for business it's all about money, right? So step number one, benefit. Step number two, how much time it's going to take. Okay, so implementation will take 6 months, then using will take 3 months, and after 3 months you start getting, after 9 months you start getting the benefit. Third is the cost involved. What is the cost of developing the software? Okay, so when you have benefit, you have timeline, you have cost, you'll know exactly that. Of course, the first point is that the cost has to be less than the benefit that you are getting it, right? And that's when you stop working on it. I mean, if the benefit is less than the cost, right? If cost is more, you say that this project is not feasible. Okay, and we are not going to go ahead with it. So if you have multiple project to carry on, and you have to pick one or two from them, let's say you have identified 10 business need, but you do not have 10, you don't have enough people to carry out all the 10, right? So you want to know which will give me more benefit in terms of dollar value. So you do business case, and you figure out, okay, this is the best option available, or this is the best option I have. Then you get into requirements management. So requirement management is when you have the requirements, of course, when you talk to your customer, when you know what is their need, how do you manage it? Okay, in the sense, how do you translate that business need to technical need? How do you make sure that you are capture the right requirement? Okay, so then if you talk to 10 customers, 10 different people in your business side, you'll get different versions of it. So making sure that you get one version of the solution. Okay. If there is conflicting version. If somebody says, no, I want something different, then it's your job to make sure that you get the right version. Okay, so if there are two people talking about two different things, you talk to them. You tell them that this is what I hear from you and this is what I hear from you. So what is the right version? So let them work together and come up with the right version. So that's called requirements management. How do you and finally, end of the day, so end of the requirements management phase, you get the top 10, top 15 requirements which you need to develop and deliver as part of the solution. Okay. Then acceptance testing. Um, so I'll just give you an example for here, and then I know from BA perspective, I'll tell you. So when you go and buy a phone, right? So even though the phone is tested by the company, and that's when it is in the store, but still we would like to do some basic test from our side, right? Making calls and seeing the screen and things like that. We want to make sure that those we are not going to test it for whole day, right? We are not going to test all the features. We just test some of the basic features like making call and seeing the voice quality or the screen and things like that. And that's called users acceptance test, the minimum criteria that we set to accept anything. Right. So same thing when you deliver the software. Okay, you have delivered. The project team has given you the final solution, but before you take it to the customer, customer would like to see if their key requirement has been addressed or not. They're not going to, look at all the features that you're giving. Probably three, four, based on their business need. They'll say, okay. And so that's called user acceptance testing. So it's a testing of the final product by the user before they say, yes, go ahead and implement at our site. And you'll have, not that they're going to use those three features, they're going to use all the features and there will be issues that will come after implementation. But before that, they want to see some of the key features, which is enabled by our software. That's called user acceptance testing. So you, as a BA, we play a role in that also. So we take that software to customer and customer says yes. And after UAT, that's when you will bring the implementation team. So implementation team will go and implement the software. Then you have stakeholder management plan. Who are stakeholders? Your business people, right? So how do you get the requests from them? What technique do you use? What tools do you use? How do what questions do you ask? And after asking questions, you have to even tell them that these are the things that we are going to develop, and you keep them updated with the status. That's called stakeholder management plan. Working with QA team. Okay, so QA team, a quality assurance team, they're going to test the application. They're going to test the application to see the application is behaving the right way or not. But since you have worked on the requirements, you have got the requirements, so you are trying to tell them what's the right thing. Okay, so that's why when they test it, you are also with them. Okay, to make sure that whatever you have defined in the solution, they are testing same thing. Okay, so and BA and QA work very closely, okay, in terms of development. And user training. Well, if you are implementing a complex software like ERP and things like that, you need to train your user. Okay, so because it's your product and nobody knows better than your company, right? So you provide your user the training so that they're up and running as soon as possible, right? Then requirements elicitation. Okay, in requirements elicitation, you are going to the customer and asking them the questions. Okay, and we'll discuss this in detail. You are preparing the set of questions. You're preparing a schedule, and based on that, you will go and you will ask the question. Access solution design. Okay, um, so once you give the technical requirement specification to the uh, to the to the technical team, and when they design the architect, uh, we call them as solution design. You are also there. Okay, so you will validate that the way they are doing it is right or not. We are going to discuss each of these things in detail. Okay, but then you should keep this in mind. What are the different roles, and these are the important things. So That's the why I want to do it twice. Once with generic example, and then when we get into the chapter, we will do it in detail with some examples as well. Business process and design analysis again. So when you know the requirements from customer, the business requirements, and then you analyze and make sure that there are some qualities, okay, like uh, it should be concise. Okay, so the thing is when you are writing a requirement, detailed requirement, okay, if you are writing too much of content, right, too much of text would confuse others, right? Let's say if even writer like BA, if your English is fantastic and the reader English is also fantastic, even then there could be a chances of miscommunication, right? So what we are trying to say here is that it should be concise, use less text as possible, more pictures, more drawings, okay, so that it's easier. And when you write a text, when you write a paragraph, when 10 people reads it, all the 10 people should get same meaning from it. And of course, your intention should also be the same. Your intention and what they get from the, because you cannot go and explain to each everybody every day, right? So once you write the document and the document is made available to all the technical people, they're going to read it and understand and deliver it, right? So you want to write it uh, completely. Okay, so somebody reads it, they will not have any doubt. Complete, concise, correct. Okay, first thing is just to be correct. Okay, so those are the things, the qualities we'll see, we'll discuss. So idea is that when you describe any process, it has to be understood clearly by your technical team. Okay. Requirements documentation. Okay, so you document the requirements. Process improvement, KPI modeling. Now, process improvement is when you describe about so we discuss about two stages: describe and define. Okay, so describe is you're describing the current situation, right? And define is you're defining the to be situation. So so ultimately the process is being improved, right? Okay, so the as is process and the to be process. The to be process has to be better than the as is process, right? So we talk about what you call as crack, KRAC. What are the things that need to retain? So when you have older process, let's say you are doing a process in 10 different ways. So uh, 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 what are the 10 different processes? Okay, and from the 10, what remains the same in new process, right? What needs to be removed? What new process has to be added? Okay, and then what new process has to be modified, changed. C means changed, right? So process, the same thing, you have to do the same process but in different way, right? So those are the things that you do. So that's how you know that, okay, this is how I can improve the process. And then you have KPI modeling. KPI modeling is, you have the key performance indicators, okay, associated with the project. And then also, so before you start the project, okay, so when you are at the business case development or even before that, you identify the key KPIs, okay, which will be positively impacted by the project. Okay, so if, as I said, if your intention is to, let's say, improve the profitability, right? So you look at the revenue, you look at the margin, okay, profit margin, and after end of the project, you go and again you validate the revenue and margin, and you should see that improvement. Okay, so identifying the KPIs for the specific project is important. Okay, so if I'm doing a customer service improvement, what are the KPIs associated with customer service? If I'm doing a profit, I'm doing a project to improve my profit, what are the profit metrics that I should look at? Okay, so these are the things that you need to understand as part of KPI modeling. Any questions so far before we move ahead? So now we are still at the basic, what you call as introduction phase. Okay, we have not
Yeah.
gone into the detailed BA phase. I want you to understand at a high level what is all about, and then so when we get into detail part, it will be easier for you to relate to that stage. So that's what.
Yeah.
So first 2 3 days it's all going to be about introduction, so that you're very good with the introduction. I think just 2 days today we should be able to finish the introduction part.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Good. So this is what I was saying. So you are the person with the red tie. Okay. So you, as a business analyst, you work as a liaison among stakeholders. Okay. So stakeholders, in order to elicit, analyze, communicate, and validate requirements for changes. Okay, to business process, policies, and information system. Right. So what it says is your liaison between stakeholders. So you have on the blue side, on the left hand side, you have business stakeholders. So always on the left hand side, you will have the business people, and the right hand side, you'll have the technical people. Okay. So you liaison among stakeholders in order to elicit, analyze. Okay, elicit is getting the requirements, talking to the people and getting the requirements, analyze those requirements. Okay, making sure that you are getting the requirements correctly, completely, concise, clearly. Okay, then you communicate to all the stakeholders. But this is what I've understood. Is this correct? Okay, that's what then will validate. Oh yes, what you have said is correct. Only then you'll move ahead. So you communicate and get that validation from them for the change in the business process, policies, and information systems. Okay, so that's the role of a BA in short. So you work with everybody. Okay, BA is the only person who actually connects to multiple people. You work with the owner, you work with the sponsor, you work with the project manager, you work with the solution developer to develop the solution, you work with the subject matter experts. Now, this is the key. So when you, who are the subject matter expert, right? So when you work on multiple projects, you hop from one project to another project, right? It may not be possible for you to have the complete knowledge of all the domain, all the processes. Right? So when you work on a banking project, you should have the banking domain, and tomorrow you might move to a retail project, right? So again, so here you have two types of BAs basically, okay, at a high level. One is the business BA, okay. So when you talk about a situation where, say bank, okay, a bank will have a BA who's supposed to understand the challenges faced by the bank. Okay, the problems faced by the bank. They are the one who will do the first stage one, analyzing the enterprise. Okay, getting to know their problem. Okay, that's called stage one, and this is mostly done by the company's own BA. Okay, if it's a bank, bank BA. If it's a retail, then retail company's BA. Okay, and then they identify the problems. Okay. Now, when you identify the problem, you have two options. Okay, whether to outsource it or you do it on your own. Okay. So when you outsource it to say TCS or Accenture, then there will be a BA from that company too, and you will explain them. You will give them the document, analyzing document, and then from there they will perform the illustration, solution design, and that's the process. In such cases, what happens, like so Accenture BA and TCS BA, they are very good at technology. They may not be as strong with the domain. So what they do is TCS and Accenture, that IT companies, they hire SMEs, subject matter experts. Subject matter experts' role is to understand the business, and whenever the BA has any problem, questions related to domain, they will go and check with them. Okay. So if you are good at technology, then you would like to work with these service providers, and they'll have a team who will support you with the domain knowledge and domain information, right? And you also build it, but they will have a support. But when you talk about the first type of BA, which is working with the retail company company, then there you need to have the business knowledge. You will not have subject matter experts. You will be called subject matter experts. Okay. So then there you need to have the domain knowledge. It's a that's a domain knowledge is another important factor which we will also briefly touch upon in our class. But also it's important for you to understand that. Okay. And when you're not outsourcing, you are doing in-house. Okay. So you might be performing both the roles. Okay. In that case also, your the architects that you have, we will take care of technical things. So you need to know more of domain, less of technology when you are in the main company. And in the service provider, you need to know less of domain, more of technology. Okay, so that's why you have to understand domain. Okay, which is very important. And when you and in US mostly it's about the domain. Okay, so where you need to understand, like if you apply for a bank, BA in bank, you need to have some knowledge about the banking process. Okay, okay. So Shishma, you there? Can you hear? Can you hear me? Okay, sure. So, so Sushma, probably she can't speak. So, Navya, we'll work with you. So,
Yeah.
on the screen, yeah. So on the screen we have 6 problems. Okay, I'm going to explain. So, as a BA, you'll be given. So this is called the, objective, business objective or business need. It will be in one line only. Okay, and you have to give them a solution to solve this one line of problem. Okay, so business need comes in one line, right? And then the next step is to create that scope and vision, right? So that one line that's why you will ask the question to the people, right? What is that? You try to get more information about the problem, okay? And when you have the more information, when you get more information about this one line of problem, then the third step is to find the solution. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain you the first problem, or first problem on how a general approach is. Okay. Then you can attempt the second one maybe. Okay. The same way, and you can and the rest of the 4 problems you can try at home assignment. And if you want me to discuss, I can discuss it tomorrow. Whenever you want me to discuss, we can discuss it. Okay, but I
Okay.
want you to give it a first shot before we discuss it, and that's okay. And see, in BA there's nothing wrong. Okay, so see, we are defining the solution, right? We are defining something which is about future. So we're saying that this solution will work best for you. Okay, so now so when you're talking about future, then we cannot test it until we have to wait for the future, right? So there is no right or wrong approach, just that it has to be complete and it should be logical. So when you say that this is what I'm going to do, it should make sense, right? It should convince your customer or stakeholders that your approach is right. Okay, so don't worry about getting it wrong, but try to solve it. Okay, so now um, I'm attempting the first one. Okay, so problems. Yes, Sushma, go ahead. I see your hand, but I can't hear you. I don't hear your voice.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Sushma?
Hello?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't get the uh, thing you said earlier. Like, did you tell me us to solve the 4 problems, something?
Okay. So on the screen, what you see are 6 problems, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So first problem, I'm going to solve it. I'm going to explain how it is.
Okay.
Okay. Second
Okay.
problem will be solved by Navya. Third
Okay.
problem will be solved by you.
Okay.
Okay, in the class right now we'll do it. It's an
Okay.
attempt. Let's do an attempt. And the
Okay.
remaining 3 problems you try at home
Okay.
in assignment. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And then maybe after a day or two we can discuss it. When you are done, you want to discuss, we can discuss in the class.
Okay. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me try the first one. It says problems getting orders from customers 24 hours a day. Okay. So here you have to make assumptions. Okay. So when I say problem getting order, who's getting the problem? Let's say it's a pizza delivery. So it's a retailer who sells pizza. Okay, and they have problems getting orders from customers 24 hours a day. So what are the different ways of getting customers order? So they can get from phone, website or a person standing in front of them. Okay, and that pizza delivery company has problems. So while they are standing in front of the counter, there is no problem, right? On phone also no problem. They get a call, they note down the address, the system details, and there is no problem. Is the orders from the website. When somebody gives the website, they're getting problem. And that problem is very specific to a time. It says 24 hours a day, right? That means it works sometimes, it doesn't work sometimes. So you analyze why when it is not working. So you find that all the problems are related to orders that is between 8 and 9, or maybe 7 and 8. Okay. All the problems that they're coming in is for um, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. orders. So now you have to know why there's a problem between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. Okay, you start digging into it. Then you find out that the number of people that visit their website is much higher at 7 and 8. Okay, so you know, so they are getting about on non 7 to 8 other timing they have about, so it's about the complete website, right? The complete company's website. So they get about 10,000 visits, 10,000 people at any given point of time. But during peak hour, that is between 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., they have about 2,000 people logging into their website. Okay, not everybody is ordering. There are some people who are ordering, and they get confirmation that order has been taken. The money is also deducted, but the order does not come. And when they call the listing, they say that sorry, we have not got your order. There are many such complaints where customer says they have got a confirmation, but the store which is supposed to deliver does not get the order. Okay, the order is lost. Okay, so on the further digging, you say that it's because of there's so much of traffic that the order is lost in the way. Okay, confirmation happens, but then that the piece which translates message from a server to the local store server machine client, that is not, many times it fails. Okay, that's, and because of which you have the order, they're not able to get the order 24 hours a day. Basically, it's between 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. is the problem. Okay, then you come up with a solution. That okay, the two ways. One thing is that we will have more acknowledgement based kind of thing. So before you confirm to the customer, you get a confirmation if the details has been sent to the store or not. No, then you will uh, you know, uh, s- uh, till you get a confirmation from the client, you're not going to send back the response to the customer that your visa has been accepted, order has been accepted. A problem here could again be that so order, the store gets the order, confirms the order, but when you are replying back to customer, then it fails, right? In this case, what will happen is, more worst case, your store has the order, but customer thinks that order has not been placed, right? The solution is that you need to improve your hardware, okay, so that you are able to handle 50,000 customers, right? Not only that, if you have got 50,000, maybe next 6 months, 1 year, you need to increase. So your hardware should support maybe what 100K people, right? So you start delivery, and then again the hardware cost will be high. So you are thinking of going to cloud and things like that. So that will lead into technical discussion of how to manage this thing. But you are unable to, now you got the problem, right? And the solution is to have a better software. So two options. One is improve your hardware so that you are able to handle the customer. And if you do not want to spend so much money in improving hardware, you move your solution to the cloud and you pay them as your business increases. Okay?
Okay.
Any questions?
Mm, fine.
Now, Navya, you want to attempt the second question? Make your assumptions, okay? Make your assumptions. Which business it is, what could be the problem, and that's okay. As long as you're able to connect the problem, it's good.
Okay.
You can ask me if you have any questions, related to understanding and things like that. So attempt the second one, problems,
Yeah,
planning,
just a second.
production. Yeah. Okay. So I'm
Mm,
going to help you. Okay. I'm going to
yeah, yeah.
help you. Let's see if, okay. So problems, planning, production amounts to satisfy customer demand. Okay. Problems in planning, production. Now, as of, let's say you're talking about a factory. Okay. Now the factory has to produce, we'll take an example of toothpaste factory. Okay. So let's say, close up. Close up
Mm,
needs to, so we'll have a factory and they have to produce the toothpaste, and so that the demand is matched. Now, if the demand is, let's say, 100 pieces per day, okay, and if you produce less than 100, what will happen? Customer is not happy, right? They come for close up and it's all stock out. I mean, so if you send only 90 people will get it, the last 10 people will not get it, right? So that's the problem. And the problem with producing 110 is that, you know, you are, wasting those 10 pieces. When you produce 110, if every day there's a 10 pieces which is getting piled up, and it'll have a timeline, right? So it'll go waste in longer. So you are wasting um, the product as well, right? So as much as possible, your production amount and the selling amount, the demand, customer demand is what is selling, right? Customer demand and production should be in sync, should be similar. Okay, that's right, correct?
oh,
Okay, so how do you make sure that the demand and supply is in sync, the production and the customer demand is in sync? Okay, so you need a software. Okay, ultimately it's all about the software. So you need a software which will look at the past demand. Okay, what was the, for last 1 year, how many pieces you selling per day? Then you come up with a trend, right? You will come up with a trend. Now that trend, okay, based on that trend, you will plan your factory, you plan your production. Okay. Yes, no.
yeah.
So you need a software that is going to tell you that, okay, your demand is going to be 100 on Monday, 120 on Tuesday, 300 on Wednesday. For some reason, Wednesday 300. Thursday it's only 50. Friday again it's 95. Okay. So that software is going to give you day-wise customer demands, forecasting based on the past history. So based on the history, it's forecasting the future demand, and you are planning your production according to the future demand only. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. The third one, Sushma, you want to try?
Can you hear me, sir?
Your voice is a little low. Can you be a little louder, please?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but it's very, very low.
I don't know, but everything is same as yesterday. I don't know what's wrong. But can you hear me now again?
Navya, you also face the same problem, right?
I can hear her right now.
No,
I
you
can
can
hear
hear her,
you,
but is
but
it clear?
Yeah, a little bit low, but okay.
Okay. Try, Sushma.
the third one is
This
problems
is
reduce.
better. This is much better.
Okay, fine. The third one says the problems reducing inventory holding costs and obtaining supply discounts. I think here maybe it's the cost of producing the product is much more than the profit. Here it says holding the inventory and getting the discount from the supplier of what the stock to be held in the inventory is exceeding the ultimate uh, profit. So there is if this problem is reduced in holding the stock, then maybe the rest of the problem can be solved.
Okay, right. So what happens is, yeah. So holding cost and supplier discount. So when you buy more, right, you get discount from customer, right? But the problem is when you buy more, you have to store it uh, in a better thing because so for example, when you go over buying bread from say Walmart, the bigger packet you buy, more discount you get, right? Per slice cost comes down. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're only two of you to eat the bread, then it becomes, if you buy a big one, it becomes too much. So first thing that you have to store, you have to have a refrigerator to store it, and then it also might get spoiled if you do not eat it on time, right? So those are called holding costs, the cost of holding the goods, right? So it can be expensive to hold the goods. Now, if you buy less, if you buy one packet every day, it's good. I mean, you don't have to store. The holding cost is zero, but then you don't get discount, right? So if you buy a small packet, it's expensive, right, per unit. So you need to figure out the right quantity. For home, it's easy. We can do that, but for factory, it becomes difficult. So factory also, if they buy bulk, the supplier will give them discount. But then if they buy too much, then they need to have a space, special space to store the good, right? And then it can get spoiled, and then it can get lost and things like that. So you have to find the right mix. Okay. So you need a software which will tell you that based on the holding cost and discount that you're getting, this is the right quantity that you need to order, okay, per day or per week or per month. Okay, so this is the thing that you need to order. Okay, the software will calculate and tell you the right quantity that you need to order every week, let's suppose.
Okay.
Okay, right. So next three, you will get the slides. If you want, you can take screenshot for now. Okay, but you'll get the slides by tomorrow.
Um, I have a doubt, Saurav, here.
Yeah.
The third problem says, like, if this is in cases of businesses do like Walmart and only such businesses, right? Not the
All
scientists.
businesses, all businesses. Okay,
Not,
so yeah, so thing is, let's say Walmart, they will have to buy uh, in bulk, right?
yeah.
So because so that they know, okay, so even if there's a steady demand, 10 toothpaste are being sold every day, right? So now Walmart will buy, so option, Walmart can buy 10 pieces every day, or 70 pieces every week, or 300 pieces every month, right?
Okay.
So if
Mm.
they buy 300 every month at one time, they'll get discount, right? They're buying 300 pieces at one time, so he can ask for discount. But the problem is the 300 pieces, they have to hold it. They need to have a bigger space to hold it.
Okay. Okay.
So, right? So,
Yeah.
it becomes difficult. No, so you don't have 300 pieces. You can't put it on the shelf. So you need to have a back room. So that space is getting wasted, and also you never know if some of them is old enough. It can expire also. Okay.
Okay.
And to reduce the holding cost, the best way is that you buy 10 pieces every day. Now, if you buy 10 pieces every day, then you're not getting discount. If you're buying only 10 pieces, they're not going to give you discount, right? So what happens is the cost go up,
Mm.
right? That is the best case. Holding cost is zero. Every day morning you put it on the shelf. The 10 pieces you shelf put on the shelf, and every morning we keep. Okay. So in that case, best case would be buying 70 pieces per week. Okay. So that may be the best way. So you're saying, okay, 70 pieces I'll buy every week. So I have to store less pieces. And also the cost is also, I can get some discount when I order 70 pieces. Things like that. So everybody, everything, factories are actually more, makes more important for factory, because factory will buy in large quantity and they need space to put it.
Okay.
Okay. So slides you will get tomorrow. I'll tell them to send you the slide. But for now, if you come on, you can take a screenshot and try. Maybe over the weekend you can try, and on Monday when we meet again, Monday when we meet, you can discuss. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So this, so what I'm going to talk about now is how do you approach such problems. So when you're given that problem, how do you approach? How do you solve it? So the next three problems, when you solve it, try to solve using the steps we're going to discuss. The step number one is called get oriented. So if I call you, you are BA and this is the problem, and you are as a BA you're getting involved into this. So first thing is that you understand your role. Okay. So you'll say that, okay, clarify your role as a BA. What I'm supposed to do. Okay. What is the final output? What do you expect me to perform? Right. So when your manager tells you that, you're going to work on this project. So first question, clarify as your role. What should be the end result? What should be the output that I'm supposed to deliver? Okay. Who are my primary stakeholders? Right. Whom should I be talking to? Whom should I be uh, engaging in defining the project's business objectives? Okay. Who will help me to give me the answers? Okay. Understand the project history. Project history, very important, because you want to know whether we had a good relationship with the customer or not, right? If you do not have a good relationship, okay, there could be some you need to play it safe. Okay, if there is okay, so something which has already been done, you may not want to repeat it. Okay, you want to look for the documents with some, like previously somebody has worked on it, the same project or different project. So you want to refer those documents, see what has already been done, you take it from there, okay, and understand the existing situation. At this situation, okay, you understand. So these are the things that you need to do before you get into the role of BA. Okay, so you are getting oriented towards the project. Okay, your role, who are the people who's going to talk to you, what is the history of the project, and what is the existing system and business processes. What is the current situation, basically? Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. Step number two is discover the primary business objective. What is the primary business objective of doing this project? Okay. So who will tell you? Stakeholders. So you have identified the stakeholders previous step. Now you are talking to them and understanding what is the primary objective of doing this project. Okay. You call them why. Why behind the project, Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to do this project? Yeah. Okay. Reconcile conflicting expectations. Okay. So when you talk to two different stakeholders, they might share different views. Okay. So when you talk about primary business objective to two people, one will say it is to uh, improve uh, the process. Second will say it is to improve or maybe reach market faster, right? So is it to improve the process or reach market faster? What's the objective, right? So you will speak to both of them and try to sit down and tell me exactly what's the situation. Okay. Then
Okay.
third is coming up with that one-liner statement like that what we did. Okay, something which action can be taken. Okay, so when you talk about even one line of business need, it means there is some action. So when I say meeting production planning and the customer demand, there's something which can be done, right? But if I say I want to improve the score customer satisfaction, and you don't know what score to improve upon, then how will you know? Now, so let's say if you're taking up this training, and end of the training, if you don't know whether you have learned something new or not, then how are you going to judge it, right? If you do not, if it's, that's what people say that, if you cannot measure, then you should not. That means you have not done it, right? So how do I? What is the clear objective? Okay, something where I can take action as a BA, right? Something that can be measured. Okay, so when I say production planning and customer demand, so what you do is we calculate the error. Okay, so on day one, how much have you produced and what is the demand? Okay, you produce 90, demand is 100. So there's a minus 10. Is a 10 is the error. Okay, next day you produced reverse way 90 100. Okay, so you're trying to calculate the error between uh, the demand and supply. Okay, customer demand and when you implement the software, that error should be minimum, right? So without software, it's either plus 10 or minus 10. Suppose to be on simpler side. So every day demand is say 100 fixed demand. You are producing either 90 or 110, 90 or 110, right? So your error is 10 every day. But with software, error should come down to 2 or 3 per day. That's when you know that your software is working, right? So what is that I need to be, what is that it's the action that I need to take? Okay, so action that you take is, okay, that the error between forecast and demand has to be as minimum as possible. You should be able to measure basically. So primary objective that you have discussed, from there expectations from each stakeholders, reconcile if there is a conflict in expectations, right? So if two people have two different expectations for the same project, you can reconcile, bring them together and say that, please be on the same page. Third, identify the clear objective which you can take an action, and also you'll be able to measure the success criteria that you define in detail. Third is scope, that now you know the expectations, you know the objectives. Now you start getting into the scope. Scope can be linked to, yesterday we were discussing, right? Scope means it's like your course syllabus or course structure, right? So you're defining a boundary. So everything which is in the boundary is what I'm going to work upon. Outside the boundary, I'm not going to work. So if you're going to solve loan application process, if you're going to automate loan application process, everything related to loan application is within the scope, and outside scope is non-loan processing stuff like payroll problem. If you have a problem with your payroll system, that is not a problem for this project. I mean, if you want, you can start a separate project for that, but not for this project. Okay. Now, you draft a scope statement and review it with your key business and technology stakeholders until they are prepared to sign off. Okay. Now, the first step, identify the scope, and then your business stakeholders you have to get their sign off, get their signature. Okay, making sure that they agree to what you have defined. Okay, now this is key, because whatever further action that you take, right, you deliver the software, when you create the software and the solution, that will be based on this. Okay, so for example, when you are doing this training, right, the course structure has already been shared with you, right? Now, course structure is important is because both of us are on the same page. As a trainer, I know what I'm expected to do, okay, and as a participant, you know what is what I'm going to teach. So we should agree on on this. We should agree uh, on the syllabus. One second. One second. Yeah, I'm sorry. There was a message from office. I was trying to reply. Okay. So any question on this? What did you get from here, from this slide? What is the scope? And this is important question from BA perspective. Okay. What is the scope? Try attempting. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes.
Scope can be drafting a scope statement is like how far, how much extent that solution approach is meeting the requirement, final requirement.
Sorry, can you repeat it again? Uh,
How the scope statement can be to how much extent the scope is meeting the requirement, the solution approach is meeting the requirement. Okay.
okay. So the thing is,
I didn't get the line here until they are prepared to sign off or buy into the document. Can you please
right.
explain?
Okay. Yes. So I'll give an example of this training. Now, this training are together, right? Let's say, I'm doing a BA role, and you are the stakeholder, and I'm going to provide you with the training on BA, right? This is also a good example of BA. Okay. So what I'm doing here is so we have this course syllabus, right? Structure. Right?
Okay.
So what you are saying is that everything which is in the syllabus is in scope. I'm going to tell you everything which is there in the syllabus, right?
Okay.
Now, let's say you spoke to Anand, right? So Anand is a BA basically, and I'm the technology provider. I'm going to provide you the solution, and you are the business consumer. So you're going to consume the service. Now,
Okay.
Anand spoke to you and showed you the structure. This is what we are going to do it. And
Okay.
he showed me the same structure, saying that this is what you need to provide to the customer, right?
Okay.
So first you should say yes, exactly this is what I want, right? Before, like, it shouldn't happen that we do the 1 month of course and then we realize you say that no, this is not what I wanted, right?
Okay.
The
Okay.
same thing what happens in the business is that the customer. So when you as a BA, when you talk to and you say that okay, these are things you want, say yes, 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 yes. So fine, then sign on this document, right? I mean, it's a multi-million dollar deal kind of thing. So customer will actually, so earlier is to be a physical sign. Now you do electronic signature. Okay. So that's exactly, yes, these are the things I'm going to, this is what I want. It should not happen that,
Okay.
end of the course, no, this is no, this is not what I told you. This is not what I was expecting, right? So that's the reason why we have, if you take about the textbook, you have the indexing, the chapter with chapters, right? So you look at that and you take okay, this is, so as a reader, we look at the course structures, right? And we look at the chapters. And if you want same structure, same stuff there in the syllabus, then you will buy the book.
Okay.
And if you're not looking for those things, you'll not buy the book, right?
Fine.
So
Yes.
idea is that when you define that scope, you're defining a boundary, okay? And you're defining a boundary of what is expected from the
Okay.
solution and what is not expected. So what is not there, what is out of boundary is what you not deliver, right? For example, if you're delivering an application for loan processing, then anything related to payroll is out of scope. Right? So
Okay.
you define, you talk to your, stakeholders, and you come up with the scope document. So so in the scope document, you will say, scope document will have application, which can be filled by the user, application that will be filled by the customer, and this application will be handled by bank employees, and so bank employees decision whether to reject the application, accept the application, or put it on hold will be part of the application form, right? And all those things, the different steps that the application form will go through, right? So
Okay.
that has to be predefined, right? Say 3 step or 4 step. First step, customer filling up the form. Second step, loan executive going through the form application. Third step, verifying the details, right? Fourth step, making a decision. Fifth step, maybe the senior manager approving the decision. So, right, so 5 decisions, and then end of the fifth step is what you send it back to the customer, right? This is
Okay.
the scope you define. Now, somebody will ask you, can uh, can it be also used for uh, um, I don't know. So if there's a problem with the account statement, let's say you have made some transfer to somebody and some person has not got it and money has been deducted from your account, or let's say ATM was not working, and but then the money has been deducted from your account. Now those kind of issues, it will be out of scope for this project,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Okay, that's called defining the scope.
Okay.
Then, so once you have that thing, then you draft a statement. Okay, you'll put it in the document, and then you'll ask your stakeholders to sign on it.
Okay.
Okay, that's called defining the scope.
Mm. Okay.
Okay. Then step number 4 is formulate your business analysis plan. Now what? Now you have to do the illustration.
Mhm.
Right.
Okay.
So, so step 1 is to choose the most appropriate types of business analysis deliverables, given the project scope, project methodology, and other aspects of project context. Right. So, what method will you follow? Right. How much time will it take? Whom do you need to speak to? Right. Define the specific list of deliverables. So they'll say that I'm going to deliver these, and end of the business analysis plan. Okay. So generally, you will deliver uh, the task list, right? We call the work plan. The task is that, okay, I need to talk to these people, and these are the questions I'm going to ask them at high level. Okay, of course you can ask more questions related to those, but so that when they come to you, they'll be prepared to answer those questions, right, about their business, and also identify a timeline. Okay, so this is you are getting ready into creating the business analysis plan. Okay, okay. Um, So the next step is define the detailed requirements, right? So previous step you were defining your plan, correct? Now you have the plan. You know who are the stakeholders, what kind of techniques, and we will get into details. Okay, so don't worry here. Just understand the process. Details will discuss. The next step is to get the detailed requirements. Okay, so you have the plan. Now you execute the plan basically. Okay, execute the plan means you are asking, okay, your customer to to those questions, okay, the questions which you put it in the plan, and you're getting lot of detailed requirements. So you elicit the information. That means you seek the information, you get the information from your stakeholders. So what information do you want, okay, from the customer? Okay, then analyze that information that you have got from them. Okay, and then you will review and validate each deliverable. So so when when you talk to your customer, when you get their responses, and then you analyze those responses, you'll find out that is that requirement correct? Okay. So now if customer says that step one is that the customer has to fill in the form, online application form, which will have fill in the online application form. Let's say if that's the thing. Okay. So when you analyze, you need to know what are the things that they need to fill. What are the information that they need to fill, right? If you do not ask, then your requirement is incomplete. So you'll say that okay, fill the online application form. But what to fill in the online application form? That's when you will ask what information do you need. So customer will say I need their name, date of birth, social security number, their bank name. You come up with a list of requirement that you document it, so that when see ultimate goal is the after step number 3 here. I mean in detailed requirements. After when you get all the requirements, that document will go to the technical team, and technical team should not have any question. Okay, if you have done a great job with as a BA, there will not be single question that people will ask, right? So generally when you write an examination and when you get a question paper, right, you don't get any question, right? You don't get any doubt, right? So the exam should be set in such a way that question paper should be set in such a way that the students understands everything what is there in the question paper. So same thing when you create the document, there should not be any questions that people have. Right. So now, so if I'm teaching you BA, I should give you complete information so that you do not have anything to ask for. Like whatever you wanted, you got it. Right. So that's called reviewing and validating each deliverable with appropriate business and technology stakeholders and asking questions to fill in any gaps, right? And if there's no gap, perfect, right? If there's gap, you need to fix it now, okay? See, because here, as per your step number 4, where you're creating the plan, you have access to everybody that you want to have access, right? Now, once you have the access, then and you get the information, and future if you come across any gap, then you will be not be able to get the same time, right? So if you have to go back to the person can take a week to reply. Now your technology team is sitting idle for a week, right? They have nothing to do for a week, right? So you don't want to end up in that situation. Okay, that's why you need to get the detailed requirements from your customer.
Okay.
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 Any questions so far?
Good. Fine.
Yeah. So these are the important steps. Okay. The next step is you support the technical implementation. Here, if you have done your requirement analysis perfectly, nobody will come and ask you any question here. That's the highest this thing. So all these things that you see here is making yourself available for your technical team to ask you any question if they have, right? So you're available, okay? And if they have any problem, then they'll come to you. So you review the solution design with your architect, technical architect. You review the design so that they are also thinking in the same way as you have heard from the customer. Update or repackage requirements documentation to make it useful for the technology design process. Okay? Engage QA persons, right? Well, that's what we discussed. You work closely with QA to ensure that business context and the technical requirements are in the sync. You are available for your technical team if they have any questions to ask for regarding the requirements that you have given to them. You manage changes. Now, customer can come back to you saying that no, I need change. The process that we discussed got changed. Okay, so you manage the change. So you'll ask them, right? Instead of directly giving to technical team, you'll make sure that first that it's not going to have a major impact on the whole process. When somebody asks for a change, you want to know what kind of impact it will have on the business, right? That you measure. And if you see that it has almost no impact, that's when you go ahead and accept the change. If there's an impact, you want to warn them. So these are the impact. Now, if it means more time, then you can even ask for extra, expenses to be paid by your customer, right? So that's why you have, and you also do not want to, end up in a situation where you ignore the changes, right? So first thing is that change important. If change is important, and if you do not accept the change, then solution what you give may not be relevant. Okay, point one. Point two, other way can also happen. You do not want customer to come to you every now and then and update the requirement. Okay, if that is not important, unnecessarily that will have a pressure on the implementation team. Okay.
I have a doubt here, sorry.
Yep.
The first line says, I don't understand this line, technical scope of the project. Can you explain it further? What is
First line,
technical?
that review the solution design. That's the point, right?
Uh,
Review
Sorry?
the solution design, correct?
Yeah, the first point only. What is this technical scope? Can you explain?
Yes. So review the solution design to ensure that it fulfills all of the requirements and looking for opportunities to meet additional business needs without increasing the technical scope of the project. Okay. So when you give that requirements to the technical team, and they will review, and they'll make sure that all the relevant requirements are there, and it should not increase the technical scope of the project. That means it should not, make it more complex. Basically.
Okay.
So, let's think of example. So, you promise something which is difficult to implement, right? So initially you decided that it will be a client server based, but the way if you talk about that customer can fill up application from anywhere, from their home also, right? That means then in this case you might have to become a cloud-based application. You have to develop cloud-based application, which is totally different from what the earlier plan was, right?
Okay.
So in if it's client-based application, you expect customer to come to your branch, but then they have systems installed in the branch where they can apply for the loan. But if you want to make it a anywhere kind of thing, then you have to probably put your application on cloud. So what it says is that the requirements that come in should not complicate the technical scope, right? What has been already been decided. So
Okay.
so the best practice when you talk about BA best practices is you should not talk about the technology. Let the project manager talk about the technology. Let the technical experts decide what technology it will be using.
Okay.
I tell that to customer upfront, because first aim is to solve their problem.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, right. Okay, let me move ahead. Okay, so step number 7 is help the business implement the solution. So so when the solution is implemented, not implemented, done, then you take it and you go to the customer site and help them to improve it. Okay, so you'll have a separate team. Okay, you'll have a separate implementation team. They will go to the customer side. They will implement the customer. They'll implement that um, the solution, or the solution that has been designed by your technical team for the customer's use. So it says analyze and develop interim and future state business process documentation that articulates exactly what changes need to be made to the business process, right? So what business process would change because of new system? That's when you will share this information or you implement this software. And you train the end users, ensure that they understand all processes. Okay. And procedural changes or collaborating with training staff so they can create appropriate training materials and deliver the training. Collaborating with business users to update other organizational assets impacted by the business process and technology changes. Okay, so when you're implementing it, you need to talk to different business users. Okay, and
Okay.
there will be impact on the different departments as well, right? So when you implement a software for a uh, for a um, for a say loan processing application, the way loan processing application interacts with say savings account or with say third party software which will give you the customer credit score, right? What kind of impact it will have with the third party, all those things are also important.
Okay.
So this is what we're talking about when we talk about collaborating with other business users, what impact it will have it on other sorry other department, other software. Okay. Okay. The last step is assess the value created by the solution. Okay. This is the last step of business analysis process. So when solution has been implemented, okay, customers in using it, you go back and measure what benefit the product is giving to the customer, what kind of impact it has on the customer's business process, right? So this is like going back and evaluating. So if you want to improve the margin, I said, so here you go and see if margin is really improved by the solution, right? As a business analysis, you have promised them that solution will improve their margin. Is that solution really improving their margin? So evaluate the actual progress made against the business objectives for the project to show the extent to which original objectives have been fulfilled.
Okay.
Communicating the results to the project sponsor and, if appropriate, to the project team and all members of the organization. You tell them that this is what we discussed in the beginning of the project, and this is what we are delivering you, right? So idea is the best scenario is that you promised 20% growth and you are showing them 25% growth. That's the best scenario. Anything less than 20% is not good, right? And then of course, there is any follow-up projects, any add-ons, anything, any scope for improvement, right? You would suggest that I have gone through this and I have seen your business process. I think there are a lot more scope for improvement. It's like you're creating a opportunity for your company for a project and also giving opportunity for business to improve. So with that, you end your business engagement with your customer, and and this will be done periodically. Let's say it's not that one time, So now and then, customer can request you. You can call them and say that, are you still getting the? Do you have any problem? And if there's a problem, right? If the solution is not meeting the expectation, that means a maintenance work, right? You need to again make some minor change. Okay. So these are the 8 steps. Mainly 4 steps are important. The first 4 steps, right? 7 and 6 or first 5 steps, right? So yes, 5th step is very important, and this is where we need to focus. First 4 is minimum work. 5th is where you have to define in detail requirements, and we will get into it when we do take up a project work. You'll understand. So fifth is very important, and especially at this stage when you run as a fresher kind of role, a lot of the questions will be asked on this. They'll ask your experience, how much experience you have, what have you done, on the detailed requirements for it, and we'll show you. I've got examples. I'm going to show you example, and you're going to do that. 6 and 7 is supporting basically. 6 is supporting the implementation technical team while delivering the software, and 7 is implementing at the customer side. 8 is measuring what you have promised in step number 1 or rather step number 2. You are measuring that in step number 8. Okay, so these are the different stages in BA, and I've got to attend a team meeting, so I'll end it here for today. I'm sorry about it. That's what the message is. So today we'll end half an hour early, and tomorrow we'll meet at the same time and we'll discuss again in detail. Any question do you have before I wrap up?
Can you, can we have something like any document like to read?
Yeah, we'll do. So right now it's only introduction. Okay.
Because there is a lot of points in the previous slides, right? So I want to just go through.
Yeah, no, you'll get the slides. You'll get the slides for sure. You'll get the recording. You'll get the slides. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll get the slide for sure. And
Okay.
and that's why if you look at my slides, I have put lot more content on the slide because the slide, if you read the slide, it should be enough. It should be self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll see a lot of content on my slides. Purposely
Yeah.
I put them so that you don't have to read anything else. Okay.
Yeah. I want these slides so that I can read again the rest of the day and
Yes,
understand better more.
yes. You'll get that.
Okay.
Okay, then thank you, and we'll meet again tomorrow at the same time.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you very
much.
much.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.